Welcome back. This is our final module, module 13, how to leverage paid acquisition to get from 0 to 1. So as a quick intro to paid advertising is going to help you quickly determine the viability of your product to a broader audience than you probably currently have. We have two additional programs that my co-founder and our CMO, Jen Bryan, had put together. One is on Facebook advertising and one is on Google advertising. These are multiple module, super deep dive programs. So if you want to go really deep into Facebook or into Google after you've gone through my intro here, I would strongly urge you to look at these two programs. They're absolutely fantastic for helping you to get customers. Okay, as we get started with paid acquisition, here's a little checklist to think about. Make sure that you're tracking, your pixels are set up on your website and that you're tracking things accurately from the start, even if it's a brand new account. What happens with the pixel that you install on your website is that when you feed the pixel data back to the platform gets better at doing its job of finding customers. In an ideal scenario, you have a conversion event hooked up to your pixel so that, let's say Facebook or Google sends traffic to your site, they click on something, they purchase, or they fill out the form that you want them to fill out. That event gets pushed back up into Facebook or Google and tells Facebook or Google, hey, I just found a relevant customer for this person. Go find more. Okay, that's how the algorithm works. So make sure you get that set up. If you need help, reach out to us. We're more than happy to take a look for you. But I would strongly recommend that if you don't have pixel tracking set up, that you do it now. You also want to look at every data point that you might have about your current audience. And I'll walk through this in a minute here. You also want to think about what audiences you want to exclude from your campaign, just as much as you want to look at who you want to include. And then think about your segmentation and try to focus on any segments or key customer areas that you think are lower hanging fruit at this point that will be easier for you to go after. Think about what your goals are. What are you trying to learn? Just like with all of the rest of the modules here, we're trying to learn something about our potential customer. Are you moving to that persona problem fit stage, or are you moving into conversion points? What are you trying to do? What's your main goal? Build your campaigns based on that goal. Do you have a website yet? I hope you do. If you don't, you probably want to spin something up that at least is a landing page where you can drive some traffic. Is your product yet available for purchase? If your product's not available, but it's kind of like behind some conversation that you need to have with a customer or a potential customer, then make sure that you've thought through that conversion pathway and what that process looks like. And then look objectively at how your other efforts, if you're doing LinkedIn and you're doing cold outreach, how are those working? And so you'll be able to establish some baseline metrics to see, is the paid acquisition side even working for me, or is it working better, or is it working not as effectively? When we think about data, you want to kind of collect and collate as much data as you can and put it into the platforms to test. Really what this means is that if you can get your hands on emails of people that you're going after, like you've probably already done for cold outreach and to some degree for LinkedIn, if you can put those emails up into Google or Facebook, it's going to allow you to do much more direct targeting and build an audience based on that email, or build a lookalike audience based on that email list that you have, rather than just going really broad and letting the algorithm do all the work for you. If you don't got any data yet, you can look at tools like Phantom Buster, which we walked through before, that will help you scrape some of the data for your relevant leads that you're going after, put that into Facebook or Google, and then use that for targeting. But if you just don't want to go through that effort, it's okay. You can also trust that these large platforms like Facebook and Google, that their machine learning is really good. If you're starting from scratch, machine learning and just turning on a broad audience with not a lot of tuning, and letting those conversion events on your website with your pixel fire back up to help the algorithm find more leads based on the one that they just found you. It's actually a pretty great way to do it. And it doesn't take a ton of effort on your point. With Google Ads, Google's going to be an excellent choice if you've got a high intent audience and people searching for your product or service. And you'll have a lot of different options within Google. You can run search ads, display ads, YouTube ads, etc. This is an excellent way to kind of steal some of the audience from your competitors. I mean, you can literally use tools like SpyFu and understand what keywords your competitors are bidding on and just overbid them if you've got budget, or finagle your way in front of that audience that they're also going after. You can get a sense of cost by going into and creating a draft plan for keywords. You can plug different keywords in and it'll spit out what it'll cost you to become top of the page for a bid. So like email marketing specialist may cost me $10 to get up ranked on the, in the top page, but to get the top bid on the top page, it'll cost me like $50. Okay. So you can use these tools to give you a sense of cost just to kind of show up at the top of that page and then to get clicks from that. And then you can also do more granular tuning at Google, things like find me more people with a certain purchase intent, or people who go to websites that are similar to your competitors, or people who search for any terms within Google. So you can do a lot of different things here to kind of more deeply drive that audience tuning. In the early days, you may just want to kind of get started with some of those keywords that you think you can afford that will drive traffic that you think is quality traffic for whatever your product or service is. With Facebook and Instagram, these are really great for driving awareness in a B2C context. It's going to be more expensive though in a business context for sure, just because of the type of lead that you're going after. And you're going to probably want to allow the machine learning, especially after the iOS 14.5 changes that we had last summer, allow the machine learning to do some of the work for you if you don't have a ton of data yet. If you don't have a remarketing list, or you don't have a ton of data coming through your pixel yet, or you don't have a lot of volume going to your site, totally okay. Let the machine learning do the work. This is a great choice for you if your product or solution needs some kind of awareness phase first. You're going to get lower quality leads usually from Facebook and Instagram, but you'll get a higher velocity at a lower cost than you will on Google. When you look at data on Facebook, you can have multiple different sources of data. So if you've got a customer list, or if you've got your pixel hooked up, you can drive and build campaigns against website traffic and things like that. It's called remarketing. You can also look at other sources. You can actually capture leads right on Facebook using lead form if you want. Just be super mindful of that audience source. You can also drill deeper using demographics and psychographics. And then probably most importantly is that when you're looking at your campaign types, most of the time you're probably going to want to drive conversion-based campaigns, because what you're trying to do most likely is either drive a sale or drive a conversion that is a step before the sale. And that's going to be a conversion-focused campaign. If you go with a lower intent audience and run cold kind of awareness campaigns, it's probably going to be more cost effective, but the type of audience that Facebook is going to tune to is going to simply drive that reach or that brand awareness. If you create a traffic campaign, it's going to drive as much traffic to your site as possible based on that campaign consideration, whether or not those become viable leads. So if you start with a conversion-based campaign, you almost guarantee yourself that you've got the highest intent audience. You may pay a little bit more for that audience on a unit basis or at some kind of scale, but the quality should be high enough where you'll get a return on your investment. And then you need to be really objective. Are you winning on the platform? So if it's costing you $20 for a $40 sale and your margin is $20, and you're basically losing money every time. And so look at your goals, try to align the platform to your goal and metric. And then what does that domino effect cost look like as you start to move up market? When you look at conversions, or when you look at the linear sequence of how a user might engage with you and your brand, if you're looking just for kind of broad awareness, then run an awareness campaign. If you're looking for cost per clicks or landing page views, those are also considered awareness campaigns. Once you get into the concept of you want somebody to add something to a cart, or you want to look at the cost per purchase, or you want to get a lead, those are conversion focused campaigns. And so anytime you're trying to get somebody to kind of actively fill something out and give you data, I would build that conversion focused campaign. What's resonating with your audience? Split test your copy, split test your creatives. Really small changes could have big impacts. I mean, we see this across the board. Even with landing pages, I showed you my version 1 and then my version 2. My version 2 is resonating a lot more effectively with my target audience because it speaks their language. So we recently completed a split test where we tested the word private chef versus just chef, and the click-through rate increased from 3% to 11%. I mean, that's pretty crazy, literally for changing one word. So run this as an experiment, track your metrics, and split test that copy and those creatives. As you keep moving, some of the key takeaways would be building out as much data as you can to supplement the machine learning, align the campaigns that you're running with your goals for the audience that you're going after, and kind of think about that intent. And if it's a high intent audience, you're probably going to start in Google, and you may build an SEO strategy. If it's a lower intent, you'll probably be in Facebook, Instagram, and then always test those creatives against your audiences. And with that, you've made it. You've got multiple different ways to think about how to get these customers. Now go and get some, and please keep us posted on how it's going. What challenges are you having? What successes are you having? We'd love to share any successes you have with our newsletter, which would help get you in front of net new people. So send me a note. I'm Craig at Growth University IO if you want us to include you in our next email to congratulate you on some great work done. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you in the next program.